Just an excerpt there of the Prime Minister's speech in Florence. Let's go back there now, where the Prime Minister's been setting out that vision of a future relationship with the EU, and rejoin my colleague Christian Fraser.
Ben, thank you very much. Yes, welcome back to Florence. Lots of people here in the square, particularly these Remainers. These are expats from the city who've been here protesting today. They've all been talking about what they've heard. Some of it they like, some of it they don't like. Quite a lot of it they don't like, but let's find out what those who campaign for Brexit think about it. I think Nigel Farage can join us from our Millbank studio. Good afternoon to you, Mr.
Good
Farage.
Afternoon.
She seemed to be intimating in this speech that the UK is not in a position to smoothly exit the EU on March 2019 without a transition deal.
Well, I mean, what she really said today was, look, we're going to leave the European Union, but we'll do it in name only. It's my intention that trade should continue as it is, that our security arrangements should continue as they are, our science arrangements should continue as they are. In fact, she made it pretty clear that she doesn't really want to leave at all, and she just wants the current status quo to simply be rebadged. As far as the transition period's concerned, well, let's be clear, we didn't vote for a transition period. You know, all these arguments about cliff edges, all the things that Goldman Sachs tell us we should be thinking, that was settled in the referendum. We voted to leave, and it's now going to be a minimum of 5 years before we leave the European Union. And I wouldn't be surprised if this woman's still in charge if we don't get to 2021 and be told we need 2 or 3 more years.
But she said in that speech, let me just pull out a couple of things. She said we will not be members of the single market. We will not be members of the customs union. We want to be a free trading nation. That's what you want, isn't it?
Well, let's do it now then. Let's do it immediately. You see, the point about these negotiations is that the strongest card you have in any business negotiation in life is the fact the other side need to know that if you're not happy, you're going to walk away. And today, she threw that position away. Her strongest negotiating hand disappeared today. There is nothing that she said today that will make the European Union suddenly say, yes, OK, we'll give you what you want. And I fear that this transition arrangement that she's opted for, where effectively we stay full members for another 2 years, I fear that could go on for a long time.
I know the line, we're the 5th biggest economy in the world, we can do this on our own. And she was asked today, after this speech, whether the no deal scenario was feasible and whether it was better than a bad deal, and she said yes, I still hold to that position. What alarms a lot of people in the UK, and it alarms the Remainers, is that there's no preparation for the no deal. We don't see any work at customs ports, we don't see any work on immigration, we don't see trade representatives in China or in India, or all the preparations you'd expect for a country that's heading to the door.
Well, the one really important thing is the people today that we really upset will be countries all over the world who saw Brexit as a fantastic opportunity to get closer to the United Kingdom, from America to Australia to India, queues of countries joining up that represent the 85% of the world economy that is outside the European Union. And the message from Florence today is Britain is not open for business. We will not be doing deals with any of you for many years to come. And that, to me, is the saddest part of this speech.
Well, is that really true? Because I'm sure there's a lot of discussion going on in the background, and once we move into this transition period, I mean, it wouldn't make any sense at all, would it, for us to belong to the customs union and not to be able to negotiate these deals, because by the end of it, we'd still be at the cliff edge.
We're in September 2017. What has been signalled today is we will not be signing any trade deals until 2022, and that is at the most optimistic. We are wasting years and years of a golden opportunity by trying to pursue something with the European Union that at the moment they look very reluctant to do.
What about those European citizens in the UK who are very unnerved by all this? She said, we value your contribution to the UK way of life and we will uphold your rights, but under UK law, UK courts observing law from the European courts. What do you make of that?
Well, again, it's sort of a halfway house fudge, isn't it? She's trying not to upset anybody. She's saying that UK courts will take into account what the European Court of Justice says. Remember, we voted to take back control of our laws, our borders and our courts. and she's prepared to compromise absolutely all of those. I mean, come on, free movement of people, one of the biggest issues in the referendum. Again, it'll be at least 5 years since we voted Brexit before we get back any control, if you can come into this country, from the European Union.
There'll be a lot of people, though, listening to Jenny Chapman, who we've just had on, and listening to you saying, gosh, this is an impossible choice, trying to find a way through the middle of the argument, through the debate, and that debate is sort of reflected in the Cabinet, is impossible for anybody, isn't it?
We had the debate. It was called the referendum. We reached a conclusion. We now have a clear 70% of our population that simply want the government to get on with it. And what we've done today is we've kicked it into the long grass for at least another 2 years. It's a good day for Westminster. It's a good day for the political class. It's a good day for Goldman Sachs. But it's 2 fingers up to 17.4 million people who voted for Brexit.
Nigel Farage, thank you for being with us this afternoon.